All right, we're up here at London, Kentucky. It's 6th race of the year. Got a overcast day coming right here. London, Kentucky, 5 hours away from our home in the Carolinas. But we've caught up with Ted McKee right here. Ted is sitting second in points right now, our 2023 world champion in B-Gas. And the Rocky Top Missile, you got it tuned in this weekend for Kentucky?
I'm hoping we got it tuned in. We struggled. We had the gremlins biting us. You know, the fuel pump went out in Ohio. We come back to Knoxville, set the record and win the race. We go to Union, fuel pump goes out again, getting oil up into the intake, so we got that fixed. Just struggled. Them gremlins been biting us.
You know, and that's something you really got to keep a hold to. And as fast as you guys are going now, I mean, going fast breaks stuff, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it breaks stuff like that shifter, man.
Show us the shifter. Now, you had a little bit, now where was this that you had problems with the shifter?
At Union. When I pulled second, it broke the whole top of the shifter off.
So right there it broke off.
Yeah, and I just dropped the knob and grabbed it right there and shoved it in third and pulled it in high.
You feel like that was just pure adrenaline that caught?
Yeah, that's what done it. Gritting your teeth and pulling.
Well, and like I said, I mean, you know, you're out here going fast and you got parts breakage. I mean, that's just kind of one of those things that you can't anticipate that breaking off, can you?
Exactly, you can't. No, it shocked me. When I was like, what am I going to do? And I just reached and grabbed it and shoved it in third. So we done good. And
the start of the year, you were down at Brainerd, and you know the car was hooking so hard, and it kind of shot you to the left. And you got a little Brainerd stripe right here.
Give it a little character.
Yeah.
It broke the handlebar at Brainerd, and we sort of fixed that down there. But went out first round against Colby, but.
And a tough competition in first round. I mean, first round going up against Colby Welch, I remember he had some little bit of trouble in qualifying.
Yeah.
And I like to call those a trap race. That was a trap race for you.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a new clutch set up in it at Brainerd and wasn't used to it, and it just got real violent there.
And then you draw the 2022 world champion, you the 23 first round.
Yeah, it was tough, I'm telling you.
All right, first pair out right here, going to have Don Wilmot and the number 4 qualifier versus number 5 qualifier, Brian Dalton. Wilmot streaking away right there as Dalton lays over about mid-track. So, unfortunately, Dalton with some problems. Don Wilmot going to move on to second round. That's going to be Mickey Huddleston, the number 7 qualifier. He's going to take on his friend and the guy that lives in the same town as him, Randy Keeper, the number 2 qualifier in the Spine Tingle. Randy Keeper with a nice launch right there, and that's all it's going to take is he out 60 foots him and takes the win. Winner of this next matchup, the Alan Lovelady and Ronnie Jones matchup, will take on Randy Keeper in the next round. Danny Jones takes the win right there over Alan Lovelady in the narrowest margin. All right, the number 8 qualifier, Kim Haynes, is going to be in the mortgage option side. He's going to be taking on the Lacey Spring, Alabama driver, Jerry Dean. Jerry Dean gets the break on him, and that's all it's going to take. So beginning to end, it is Jerry Dean moving on to take on Don Wilmot in the next round. All right, we're going to move right into C gas category right here to keep this show moving along. All right, number 5 qualifier, Kevin Shaw, taking on the number 10 qualifier, Tony Tagenhorst. Kevin Shaw turns on the red light right there, and Tony Tagenhorst is going to take the win. So the next pair up going to be Jesse Bieber and Brad Wimberly. So Wimberly out of McDonough, Georgia, the number 5 qualifier, I'm sorry, the number 4 qualifier here today, taking on the Hagerstown, Maryland racer, Jesse Bieber in the Voodoo Child, the number 11 qualifier. So Wimberly going to move on to round number 2 right here, where he'll take on Tagenhorst in the next matchup. All right, number 2 qualifier, Jared Perdue. He's going to be over in the mortgage options lane on the right-hand side. He's going to take on the number 13 qualifier, Ernie Smith, in the quick time performance lane on the left side. Jared Perdue takes the win right there. Unfortunately, putting Ernie Smith on the trailer early here today. All right, next up going to be the matchup with Bill Wilson out of Gaffney, South Carolina, the number 7 qualifier in the Troublemaker, that 1949 Studebaker truck. He's going to be taking on the number 8 qualifier, the 78-year-old Ron Allison in Poppy's Toy 2. Ron Allison takes the whole shot win right there. Next up, Tasha McLemore and Tim Hall going to be the next pair out, the 5th pair out here in Seagas. Tim Hall out of Abbeville, South Carolina, our 2-time and defending world champion here in our Seagas category. Leaves them on the starting line, and that's all it's going to take as Tim Hall takes the win start to finish. 6th pair out right now is going to be Scott Wallace in the Indian Express. The number 9 qualifier, Alfred Adams, will be in the quick time performance lane. Looks like Alfred Adams has had some trouble out there, so this is going to turn into being a bye run. Last one out is going to be our number 1 qualifier who has a bye by being that number 1 qualifier. That's going to be Todd Oden out of Birmingham, Alabama. in the Double X, the 1958 Delray with one-way technology horsepower underneath the hood right there for him. Number 5 qualifier Mike Blackwell going to be in the quick time performance lane in his 1955 Thunderbird called the Thunderstruck. He's going to be taking on Rick Varner, the dirt man out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, with his 1955 Chevy. Blackwell takes a hard move toward the left-hand wall and has to get out of it. And Rick Varner gonna take the win right there. The number 8 qualifier Varner moves on to round number 2. Toby Welch, the number 2 qualifier, gonna have a competition single right here. Toby Welch will have lane choice in the next round. Next up, Daniel Haynes, the Patriot. He sits in the quick time performance lane with his Patriot sponsored by Flatwood Customs. He's going to be taking on Art Copeland out of Buford, Georgia. Daniel Haynes start to finish right there as he puts it in the book and moves on to round number 2. All right, Kevin Burt, the number 1 qualifier, going to be taking on the number 12 qualifier in Greg Adams. Kevin Burt marches on, taking that number 1 qualifying spot and moving to round number 2. Catching up with Greg Adams out of Winchester, Tennessee, the driver and builder of the Hillbilly Hoodlum. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good today. Doing real good. Just hope we have a good race today.
Yeah, we're up here at London Dragway in London, Kentucky, right in the middle of the Daniel Boone National Forest. So it's kind of a good setting for me. I like being out away from everybody.
Oh, I do too. Me and my wife come up here a couple of weeks ago for the 4th of July weekend, rode motorcycles up here around London and Corbin, Kentucky. So it's beautiful up in here. I like it.
It sure is. And speaking of beautiful, you have put together a beautiful race car right here with this Hillbilly Hoodlum. Tell our fans about it.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a 1960 Ford Falcon that I've had it for about 8 years. I watched them the first time in 2015 at Brainerd, which is close to me. And I said, hey, I've always been a 4-speed guy. I've got a 70 Mustang with a 4-speed. I've always loved 4-speed. I love heads-up racing. I don't care about bracket racing. That's their thing. I seen it, and I said, I got to do this. This is me. I got to build one. Took me a couple years. I finally found the car, $600. It didn't look nothing like this. Pretty rough. And I spent about 3 years to get to where I could at least make a race. I made the first race at Huntsville, Alabama. And the car wasn't really finished. We had a stock 302 in it. But, hey, I was there. I made the show. That was my first race. I actually spun every bearing in it. I didn't care. It was barely running, put it on the trailer. I was tickled to death because I had made the show. I made a pass with Southeastern Gassers. All right, the double down of Michael Oden is going to be over in the Mortgage Options right-hand lane. He's going to be taking on Bill Revels. Bill Revels is the number 6 qualifier out of Canton, North Carolina. Oden, the number 7 qualifier out of Birmingham, Alabama. So the 6 versus 7 matchup right here. The winner, to their credit, is going to get the number 1 qualifier in Kevin Burton. Michael Oden getting over close to the wall, but he takes that to the win. And the 6th pair out right here is going to find the number 3 versus number 9 qualifier. Ken Rainwater to a big advantage on the starting line. Is that going to be enough? Yes. Ken Rainwater takes the win right there as Ted McKee stumbles on the line.
Next up, we're going to move to our A-gas category where we got Ben Christopher with a big elapsed time right there. That was a strong run by Ben Christopher. Number 3 qualifier, Todd Blackwell, in the slingshot. He'll be over in the mortgage options, the right-hand lane. He's going to be taking on Kenneth Phillips, the number 10 qualifier. Todd Blackwell moves on, and he'll take on Ben Christopher in the next round. Third pair out, going to find your number 1 qualifier, Leslie Horn, in the quick time performance lane. He's going to be taking on the number 12 qualifier, Alan Pittman. In the Pittman is Ford, 41 Willis. Alan Pittman continues to struggle with the horsepower application to the chassis, but I'm telling you, it's there, and Leslie Horn makes a strong pass as well. All right, folks, got a little bit of stuff. We're going to get you a little bit wet, but hopefully that's going to be a quick turnaround. We'll go right back to racing as we are in our A-gas first round. All right, in the fourth pair out right here, Greg Stell's going to be in the mortgage options lane on the right side. And again, Martin Short in the quick time performance lane. In a real humdinger of a race right there, Greg Stelz picks up the win. Folks, judging by that last run right there, I see Randy Edmonds, our race director, telling us we are shutting them down. Catching up with Barry Lynn right here. We're at London, Kentucky. 6th race of the year in the 2024 season, Barry. How's everything been going so far with the little red wagon?
Well, we had some issues. We had a little test session a couple weeks ago and broke some parts and got a lot of stuff put back. Finally got the candy cane back on the front. We've been trying to get that back. It had a whole front end out, had transmission and clutch and everything out. We had broke the rear end. We got all that put back together, got a different gear. Last night, testing didn't go well. First pass, car was just lazy. Gear change, I think, had a little something to do with that. Adjusted for it on the second pass. Wasn't lazy anymore, it stood straight up, went left, had to get out of it. Went back, adjusted again. Third pass ended up, again, wasn't lazy. It ran a lot better, but I still had to shut it down about half track. It was just got haywire. So
yeah, it did. And it had to do, I think, with a little bit of the atmospheric conditions out here.
Well, that may have been it, but I think one thing it was hitting so hard was bouncing off wheelie bars, and that was turning the car left. So we fixing to check tires, and we're going to check a few things on it. It's got a pretty new set of tires. They was good when we put them on, but we're fixing to check roll out again, make sure we're still good.
Well, and you talked about some of the parts breakages you've had this year, so 2024 sounds like it's been kind of an expensive year for you. I know you got a lot of parts laying around, but it's been some parts you didn't want to use, I'm sure.
Well, actually, all we broke was the rear end. I mean, and to a certain extent wasn't that big a deal. But we had a lot of parts out of the car because we needed some maintenance and check, and it's just a good time to tear everything apart and check it. So that really wasn't broke as much as what we took apart and checked and fixed, but it had to stay on top of maintenance.
Well, Barry, I know you've been campaigning the 65 Chevelle wagon for years, and thus the name, the Little Red Wagon. We all love that. Do you ever get a little bit frustrated you don't have one of these smaller, lighter cars, maybe like a Chevy 2, like a lot of other guys have?
Well, the car is somewhat heavy, but we run pounds per cubic inch. So I get to run a bigger motor than they do. So it balances out, and that's part of our rule package. Yes, I got a heavier car, but I get a bigger engine. So, you know, you sort of offset it that way. And, yeah, I believe this is my 10th year running with SEGA. So, you know, we've had a lot of good times, a lot of fun, so we enjoy it.
Well, you've been one of our stalwarts. You know, you're consistent here every race, and consistently when you line up against somebody, you're one to be reckoned with. So I guess that's what you're trying to achieve here with the Little Red Wagon, because you are a reputable opponent.
Well, at Shadyside, I did make it to the finals against Gabe, Gabe sort of asked me something in staging right before we run that you don't ask your competitor. But me and Gabe are friends, and he said, "Barry, how you been on the tree tonight?" I said, "Gabe's the only reason I'm here, because I for whatever reason, I was doing exceptionally well on the tree that night, and that was the only reason I was there." In other words, it's always been said, you know, you don't have to be the fastest car, but you got to get off the line and get going. And I've been reasonably successful in doing that lately, and my car's not the fastest car here. But as long as I can run close to them, they know they can't sleep on the tree. And I've been successful in putting a lot of fast cars on the trailer over the years, knowing they was faster.
And staying consistent as you do. I mean, your car goes A to B pretty consistently every time. So if they have just at least little, you know, malfunction, you're there for the taking.
Yeah, if they have a hiccup, I'm gonna try to be close. And there's several cars here that are really fast, but the faster you get, the more apt you are to have a hiccup. And if they bobble, you know, I want to be right there to take advantage of it. And you know, we're all friends till we get in the water box. And you come off the end of the track, we go back to the pits and help each other. So you know, that's just part of what it's about, and what we enjoy about it.
Well, Barry, thank you for your time today. Thanks for all that you bring to Southeast Gassers, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you now. Thank you.
As it looks like it's going to be the scalded dog Tim Hall coming down first. He has a Vise. Jaron Caboose out of Allen County, Ohio. The little stud muffin, 14 horsepower. Next pair out, Tony Tagenhorse and Brad DeBreeze Wimberley. Tagenhorse trying to run him down, but it's going to be Wimberley. Brad's going to run either Ron Allison or Todd Oden, the big double X 58 Delray. It's going to be Todd Oden against Brad DeBreeze Wimberley tomorrow. It's going to be Moonbeam against Dirt Man. first pair out. Winner of this will run either Daniel Haynes or Ken Rainwater, and then good first race upper end gonna be Kobe Welch. Next up is going to be Ken Rainwater and Daniel Haynes. The winner gets Kobe Welch tomorrow in the first round of qualifying. Daniel Haynes all over the wall, but the Patriot marches to the win. Kevin Burke at Rybert's Floater Car was the #1 qualifier up in London Dragway. Michael Oden moved out of scooter stock into B-Gas.
Utica, Kentucky. All right. Catching up with Utica, Kentucky's Kevin Burt right here in the driver of the second coming B-Gas car. Kevin, I know you've been with us a few years, but thanks for being on here and taking time to interview with us today.
It's great to be here, and it's great to be a part of all this.
Well, being a part of all this, you've been a blessing coming into this, you know, just the way you carry yourself and the way you do your work around these pits. I've seen you helping other guys. I've seen other guys helping you. But, man, you have put together here lately some very good elapsed times in this second coming.
Yeah. I mean, these people here are great. You know, Daniel and all them, the guys that are fast, they come to me, they talk to me, they show me a lot of respect. It's hard to do this deal. It's hard to be fast in this, you know, and I think the most important thing to me about all this is being the right kind of role model and setting the right kind of examples and pointing more people to Christ.
And the second coming, how did you come about the name of that for this car?
I had another car. It was a 55 Chevy altered wheelbase, and I built it, and I called it the Resurrected, or the Resurrection. You know, so what comes after the resurrection? The second coming.
Coming to Christ.
I got a Chevy too, so it worked out perfect.
That's a cool play on names, and it stands for what you believe in as well, and what you know, try to live your life from. That is really cool. I was enamored when I saw the gold leaf along with the lime green and purple. I mean, the combination, I was like, wow, I didn't understand it, but I was like, but it pops. It really comes out at you.
Yeah, that's what my goal was, is to use this stuff. Like I did dirt track, and I always put some kind of phrase or something on the back. I had Jesus Freak on one car, and the lady said, you know, I don't know if I like that. I said, well, I do. You know, I like that. So I use this as a way to share with people and let people know where I'm coming from.
Well, they watch where you're going, because these elapsed times has got you. I mean, last night's testing tune, you put a number up there that, you know, is going to put you right at the top of this heap in B-Gas, and that's a bold statement.
Yeah, we got a really good stuff. You know, it's a home-built car. My guy, Bobby Molosky, that builds my motors, you know, he's top-notch. I mean, he's as good as they get. I got him helping me, Tim Brannon, Jeff Jones. Gosh, you know, Jerry, the Birch brothers. When I first started coming here, I met them here. And they said, you need to do this, you got to do that. He said, first off, you got to get that front end way down, you know. So those guys, people like that help, and it helps get me coming back. But if you get that kind of input from the good guys, the guys that are fast, and you got the kind of guys I got helping me, if you're not fast, there's something wrong with you.
And you mentioned Jeff Jones. That's the Jeff Jones from One Way Technologies, the head manufacturer, right?
Yes. Jeff and Chris Grace and them, they've been awesome to me. The top end on this motor, everything on this top end came from them.
Well, like I said, aligning yourself, again, with quality individuals like that does a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. You got to have good people behind you. And all of these people are good Christian people. I mean, good people. As good as they come.
Yeah, we love to call it the family out here with the Southeast Gassers. And you mentioned the Birch brothers. Unfortunately, Jerry, you know, he's had a shoulder surgery this year, not been able to compete with us, but I hear he's on the mend. I talked to him this past week, and hopefully they'll be back out here pretty soon.
Yeah, gosh, you know, there's so many good people in this deal. It's hard to mention all of them. You know, we had a rainstorm that time at Knoxville. Kenneth comes running around to me and saying that we just had this. My car was getting flooded. He said, fire that thing up. We got my car raised up on the rack. We're going to put yours in the trailer. You know, that's what it's all about. It's good people. They care about you and they care about your stuff. They don't tend to hide a lot of stuff. You know, we're all a little elusive on some things, but, you know, everybody works together and makes a really good show.
Gonna be Kevin Burt. Gonna be Chase Howard over here in the Randy Marion lane. Going against Greg Stels over there in the VP lane. Greg out of Wapak, Wisconsin. Chase Howard pulled it out on the upper end. Looked like Flatwell's door might have come open there. He did not wear out, just like Daniel Haynes, but Ben Christopher picking up that win. Horn, that high gear up there, drove away.
All right, Jerry Dean over there in the left-hand side. He's going to go down the track alongside Don Wilmot. Like Jerry Dean continues his dominance in this class and marches on to the win. Next two up going to be Randy Keeper, the spine tingler. He's going to race Ronnie Jones in a Crimson and Clover. It looks like the Ronnie Jones has not made the call right here, so this will be a competition single for Randy Keeper. Wimberly over in at the mortgage option side. Todd Oden in the quick time performance lane in that McFifty-8 Delray. Todd Oden taking the win right there in convincing fashion. And then we have Tim Hall from Abbeville, South Carolina in the mortgage options lane on the left-hand side. Darren Perdue out of Peoples, Ohio here in the stud muff, the 1962 Chevy 2 wagon. Darren Perdue in a race that was decided by 4 thousandths of a second at the line. All right, in our Kentucky race, Kevin Burke was our #1 qualifier, and with him knocking out Michael Oden last night in a very close race, he gets the bye here in the semifinals by virtue of being that #1 qualifier. Attention, folks, we need to let you know that Kevin Burke, you saw him have some problems earlier. He's looking for a drive shaft, guys. If anybody's got a 49-inch center-to-center drive shaft, he could use it. Daniel Haynes marches on to the next round. All right, the Quick Time Products Performance Lane right here, going to find a Chase Howard from Greer, South Carolina in it. And he's going to be racing Ben Christopher out of Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Chase Howard goes hard to the left. Ben Christopher keeps it straight. This is going to be a tough one. Ben Christopher takes the win. There's Leslie Horn in his Chick Magnet, the 1955 Chevy right there. All right, Superstock ready to come around the corner now. This is going to be the elimination, the final elimination for Superstock from our London, Kentucky race. So this is the final. Jerry Dean going to be racing Randy Keeper right here. Randy Keeper with the drop on him at the starting line, but that is not enough. Well, congratulations to you, brother. This is becoming an old hat to you.
You know, this is unreal. It really is. I'm tickled to death, but it's just keeps happening for us. We just keep getting lucky, and it just keeps happening.
I don't know about that. You might be playing a little bit sheepish all the time. Lucky all the time is. Yeah. You hadn't lost a single round in competition this year.
Yeah, that's what's unimaginable. You know, it just seems like, you know, you might win a few races, but you're going to get beat somewhere, and it's going to happen. We know that, but it's we're not going to try to let it happen.
Well, it's going to take a big stumble because, I mean, your ETs and your performance is far above your second place competitor.
Hell, I owe that to my crew. They work really, really hard, and we're always either testing or to the dyno, or I mean, we don't go home and put it in the garage. We work, and it pays off because every time we test, we think we find a little something, you know, and then when you go to the dyno, you always hope to find something, but horsepower is kind of hard to come by, you know, so legally, I mean, if we didn't have rules, we could have a lot of it, you know, but it's just a tremendous thing that it's working like it is, you know, and this deal's going like it is, and we're very thankful. I mean, we really are.
Well, I know you're a veteran. You've been down the racetrack many, many times in your career. Have you ever been on a streak like this before?
No, I have to say I haven't. I've had some good years of racing, but win this many in a row, no, this is it right here. I mean, this is unbelievable. It really is.
Well, I don't know the exact points and how it goes, but I would assume you pretty much got the championship wrapped up at this point, you know, just by showing up in the next three races.
Yeah, we don't really, we try to win. We prove the points take care of themselves. And so I really don't know where we stand, but, you know, we've been in every final, and we've gained 5 a race, so that should put us 35 ahead, you know, something like that. But Randy Keeper's the greatest people in the world. We all get along good. We carry on something all the time, and like I tell everybody, he wants to outrun us as bad as we want to outrun him, but we stay friends. We help one another, and we're always carrying on. You couldn't ask for nobody no better.
Well, that's what it's all about.
That is.
Southeast Gassers. I want to congratulate
Thank you,
Sharon, and all your crew.
Yes, sir. I
for all
appreciate
your hard work here.
I appreciate it.
All right, good deal.
Thank you.
Odin going to be in that right-hand lane, the Quick Time Performance lane that he was in the semifinals, round 1 of qualifying. Purdue won in that same lane, but now he finds himself in the Mortgage Options left-hand side in the stud bus. All right, Odin, finding yourself in victory lane here in London, Kentucky. What a day for you.
Man, what a day. This has been a dream come true to win the one-way sponsored race with the one-way engine, to make those guys proud of us. That's special.
It is, and like you said, a special group out there headed by Jeff Jones and his guys in Washington, Indiana. All the support and technical issues that you can't have with these cars, those guys have been behind you the whole way.
That's so nice. You pick up the phone call, any of them, Jeff, Daniel, Tyler, Chris, anybody there, and they're on the phone to help you. I mean, it's like that, man. It's just like with all my family being here. Those guys I consider them family.
Well, and the car performed real well for you again today. You furthered your points lead here in the SEGA. You know, and you're stretching it out there where you can start talking about, you know, possibilities of a world championship now.
Yeah, I want to be a world champion again, but I don't want to count those days before they're happening. You got competitors like Tim Hall and Jaron Purdue and doggone that young blood car with Josh. Can't do anything except stay on your game.
That's what makes it all the more sweet, because you know the competition is there and it's deep. It's not just one guy or maybe just two guys. The competition is deep in all our gas classes.
That's right. If you think this is easy, just come on and get yourself. It is tough to win, but it makes it that much more gratifying.
Well, Todd, I don't know if you know this, but by my count, this makes win number 20 for you in your career with the Southeast Gassers, making you the most decorated wins of any driver in Southeast Gasser history.
Well, I'm super proud of that. I'm more proud of my team and how hard everybody works, because without them, even all the way back to our car dealership at home, if those people weren't there to support it and doing what they do, I couldn't be here to do this. I'm just a big old kid having fun. This is great.
Well, we're glad you do that. Todd Oden, London, Kentucky, your SEGAS winner here today.
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin Burt takes the win. What a job. Good job for Kevin Burt. His grandson awfully excited down there on the starting line. And Kevin Burt, by the narrowest of margins. Kevin Burt, your home state of Kentucky, you bring home the victory, man. Your first one, I think, with the Southeast Gassers. Please tell us how it feels.
Oh, it feels great. This is a tough place to be, or tough place to get to. You know, and I've been my own worst enemy with this thing for a little while. Finally, I started to settle down, drive the car, you know, and let the car do its thing. Calm down. That 12 seconds or so that you get up there and do that burnout on the stage and do all that and then make your run, there's a lot of stuff going on right there.
And having a routine and something you do consistently every time makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Instead of worrying about what the other guy's doing and his staging and he stages and does all that, you know, I just try to not even think about anything.
Well, this car has just been on mean lately. I mean, you have been laying down some elapsed times that are just jaw-dropping. And I know you're getting a lot of good help from your grandson and a lot of support from him.
Yeah, both of my grandsons, Jackson and Gavin there, they help a lot, you know, and my motor guy, he's bad to the bone. I mean, he built my motor, he did my intake, he did my carburetor, he did my clutch, and he's just a phone call away. He answers every time I text him or anything like that, you know. He watched me spin the tires there a while ago live, you know, so. But he's an awesome guy, you know, and you don't have, I mean, you do have, but when you got an engine builder with the knowledge that he has, he's a stick shift guy too. And then Tim Brandon helps me a lot with some of the stuff that we do. He's a stick shift guy. Shane Smith, stick shift guy, runs the stalkers and stuff, you know. Really good people helping me.
Well, you're a really good guy, Kevin. And, you know, I know you got your car up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, it's with a lot of regret that I'm going to be seeing you less, I guess, because somebody's going to snatch his car up because of the performance of it. But you are an absolute good man, a man among men, and I am honored to interview you for your first win.
Thank you. That means a lot. My life, my character, and my Christian walk means more to me than any of this stuff right here. So that's where I stand, you know, and I want to be that role model for my grandsons and for the other kids that are out here wanting to be a part of this. I want them to see you can do all this stuff. You can drive wild. You can do it in the right way. You still have a lot of fun. I have more fun now in my life than I ever did when I was a young kid.
Well, self-made man. You are a definite self-made man and a wonderful Christian. Kevin Burt, congratulations on your win here today in London, Kentucky. This is my pleasure.
Thank you. God be the glory.
Kevin Burt. there in a good drag race. So Leslie Horn, congratulations now. You find yourself in victory lane with the makeup of the Kentucky race and your victory here at Mooresville Dragway.
Yes, I mean, I can't believe it, Dave, come in here. I didn't think we would be here. I thought we had an issue with the car, and it ended up making it through it, pulled through it. And I made the call last night. We was about to go home and put the old faithful engine in it and come back. And I was sitting up there and I was thinking, you know, what was Gene Fulton going to do? He told me to send it. So I said, I'm going to send it. I figured if I'd find the weak point, send it if I did. So that's what I did. Luckily, she held up, went through.
Car looked like it performed really well as far as handling all day today.
I mean, it's that Brian had that thing on a rail most of the day, all day. I mean, I don't know that there was too many times I even had to turn the steering wheel when I left. It left good. Bob put a little power into it last night. You know, Brian was complaining about it bogging a little bit. Bob worked his magic on it, done something there with the cam and the valve lash and all that stuff, and he said it was going to make power, and he changed the carburetor around a little bit, and he was right. It made good power today, and that was evident for those two first qualifying rounds.
Well, you got a great crew behind you. That's what's propelling you to a lot of these victories. You know, the preparation that you put in at the shop really makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. We do. I mean, all these guys work hard, but we do. We make sure they're maintained. Like this one here, we take the engine out of it. We'll take the engine out tomorrow. We'll get the engine freshen it up, just make sure it's good to finish out the rest of the season. So that, I mean, that is for a lot of us. I mean, you've heard complaints of that many times. You know, the races are wanting to stop it, and it is. To get here, not have no problems. You know, that's very rare that happens.